What's going on, guys? I forgot to do an intro also, so clip me getting the way. I didn't talk that much, but I lost all my files. I can't do soundboard. I lost my soundboard. So this is a very scuffed video, but I did my best. If you guys enjoy it, I actually gotta win this game.
She never listened to me anyway. My father
Bye.
agreed with her that it was animals, but hugged me and told me he would protect me and not to be scared. So from then on, whenever I'd hear the noises, I would scream for my father and he would come running into my room less than a minute later to see what the matter was. I would point at the wall and cower. My dad would smile, bang on the wall with his fist and say, "Quiet down in there or else." The noise would stop. I'd give my dad a teary smile and he would hug me. He was always my protector. I miss him so much now. One night when I was 16, I was awoken by an otherworldly, ear-splitting scream. It was so loud, so high, and so piercing that I screamed as well, in terror. The scream ended abruptly, then a moment later, my dad came running in. "You heard it! How could you not hear it? You have to have heard it!" "Oh, sweetie." My dad sat at the end of my bed, his hair disheveled and a far-off look in his middle of the night, bloodshot eyes. Of course I heard it. It was just an owl, I'm sure of it. We've been seeing a few in the neighborhood. "Oh, Dad, listen to the walls." "Lindsay, please, Dad." He sighed, but nodded, and we sat and listened for a while. I needed my dad to know the truth and to finally believe me. We were all in danger, but no more sounds came from the wall that night. I didn't hear him again after that, not for a long time. When the creature did return, I didn't really notice at first. After 16 years, it was simply white noise to me. A background soundtrack as familiar to me as my own face. I think that's what sealed our fates in the end. The noises were just so inherent to me that I failed to understand how unusual they really were, and had been all along. When I finally did realize what I was hearing, I'm ashamed to say I felt almost relief. The haunt progressed in the same cycle it had all my life. First the groans, then the banging, then light, lazy tapping, and then finally, the scratching. Always the scratching. I told my dad about the scratching and about how I thought the creature was trying to rip through the wall and into my room. My dad laughed and told me there were 3 inches of solid metal on the other side of my wall and that nothing could come through it. And he should know. He'd built the house himself. Since I was moving out in a year, I decided I had no choice but to just stick it out. After 16 years with him, what was 12 more months? I ignored the noises, even started to bang back. Whatever it was, if it could come through the wall, it would have done so years ago. The night the door was open is the most vivid memory I have. I was at a friend's house when my mother called me and told me to come home immediately. This in itself was strange, as my mother barely even acknowledged me and never, ever called me. I drove the 5 miles back to my neighborhood, but I had a hard time getting in. I started to panic as I desperately weaved through all the media vans, police cars, and SWAT trucks. I had to park and walk the final 3 blocks to my house, tears rolling down my cheeks as I realized that my street was at the epicenter of it all. Because I knew. As soon as I saw my house, I realized it. My dad wasn't dead. It had finally gotten out and had killed my dad. I took off at a dead run then, ignoring all the voices yelling at me to stop. I dodged in between the vehicles, pushing past dozens of people, ran through the crime scene tape, and directly into my house. And there it was. Across from the living room, next to my bedroom, the hall closet stood with its door open. All the jackets and sweaters had been pulled out of it, and on the back wall I saw it. Another door. I stumbled into the closet, through the hidden door, and out into the room I'd always known was there. But it wasn't what I thought it'd be. The media called my dad the Skinner of Stockholm Street. And from what I saw in that room, it was a very fitting name. There were all sorts of knives. There were metal devices stacked along one wall, at least 100 of them. There were 4 sets of manacles, a wall of chains, and rolls of duct tape. In the middle of the room, there was a flat table which was very clearly blood-soaked. But the worst of it was the wall. My wall. Every inch of it was covered in carvings. But the carvings weren't satanic or evil like I thought. Carvings were words. "Jacob, I love you. Tell my father I forgive him. I'm so sorry. Tell my daughters they were my world." According to the evidence file, there were over 60 of these messages, and I made myself read every single one. They haunt me every night. I had spent 10 years tormenting them, and they would now forever torment me. I live in a hospital now, and I can still hear the scratching. Every time I close my eyes, I hear it. I haven't really slept in a year. My doctor says if I don't sleep soon, I'll die. I spend my days watching news coverage of my father's trial. I spend my nights staring at the walls. And though I try every night, I can never fall asleep. I always hear the scratching. And I always will. Approach to how they were going to spend their last year in school. Lisa wanted to go to as many parties as she could.
So the dad is a,
Later, my dad came running in. You heard it! How could you not hear it? You have to have heard it! I was terrified that he would come into my room one night and kill me. My mother rolled her eyes and told me to be nice. She never listened to me anyway. My father agreed with her that it was animals, but hugged me and told me he would protect me and not to be scared. So from then on, whenever I'd hear the noises, I would scream for my father and he would come running into my room less than a minute later to see what the matter was. I would point at the wall and cower. My dad would smile, bang on the wall with his fist and say, "Quiet down in there or else." The noise would stop. I'd give my dad a teary smile and he would hug me. He was always my protector. I miss him so much now. One night when I was 16, I was awoken by an otherworldly, ear-splitting scream. It was so loud, so high, and so piercing that I screamed as well, in terror. The scream ended abruptly, then a moment later, my dad came running in. You heard it! How could you not hear it? You have to have heard it! Oh, sweetie. My dad sat at the end of my bed, his hair disheveled and a far-off look in his middle of the night, bloodshot eyes. Of course I heard it. It was just an owl, I'm sure of it. We've been seeing a few in the neighborhood. Oh, Dad, listen to the walls. Lindsay. Please, Dad. He sighed, but nodded, and we sat and listened for a while. I needed my dad to know the truth and to finally believe me. We were all in danger, but no more sounds came from the wall that night. I didn't hear him again after that. Not for a long time. When the creature did return, I didn't really notice at first. After 16 years, it was simply white noise to me. A background soundtrack as familiar to me as my own face. I think that's what sealed our fates in the end. The noises were just so inherent to me that I failed to understand how unusual they really were, and had been all along. When I finally did realize what I was hearing, I'm ashamed to say I felt almost relieved. The haunt progressed in the same cycle it had all my life. First the groans, then the banging, then light, lazy tapping, and then finally, the scratching. Always the scratching. I told my dad about the scratching and about how I thought the creature was trying to rip through the wall and into my room. My dad laughed and told me there were 3 inches of solid metal on the other side of my wall and that nothing could come through it. And he should know. He'd built the house himself. Since I was moving out in a year, I decided I had no choice but to just stick it out. After 16 years with him, what was 12 more months? I ignored the noises, even started to bang back. Whatever it was, if it could come through the wall, it would have done so years ago. The night the door was open is the most vivid memory I have. I was at a friend's house when my mother called me and told me to come home immediately. This in itself was strange, as my mother barely even acknowledged me and never, ever called me. I drove the 5 miles back to my neighborhood, but I had a hard time getting in. I started to panic as I desperately weaved through all the media vans, police cars, and SWAT trucks. I had to park and walk the final 3 blocks to my house, tears rolling down my cheeks as I realized that my street was at the epicenter of it all. Because I knew. As soon as I saw my house, I realized it. My dad must be dead. It had finally gotten out and I killed my dad. I took off at a dead run then, ignoring all the voices yelling at me to stop. I dodged in between the vehicles, pushed past dozens of people, ran through the crime scene tape, and directly into my house. And there it was. Across from the living room, next to my bedroom, the hall closet stood with its door open. All the jackets and sweaters had been pulled out of it, and on the back wall I saw it. Another door. I stumbled into the closet, through the hidden door, and out into the room I had always known was there. But it wasn't what I thought it'd be. The media called my dad the Skinner of Stockholm Street. And from no one was there. But it wasn't what I thought it'd be. The media called my dad the Skinner of Stockholm Street. And from what I saw in that room, but it wasn't what I thought it'd be. The media called my dad the Skinner of Stockholm Street. And from what I saw in that room, it was a very fitting name. There were all sorts of knives. There were metal devices stacked along one wall, at least 100 of them. There were 4 sets of manacles, a wall of chains, and rolls of duct tape. In the middle of the room, there was a flat table which was very clearly blood-soaked. But the worst of it was the wall. My wall. Every inch of it was covered in carvings. But the carvings weren't satanic or evil like I thought. The carvings were words. Jacob, I love you. My father, I can't. I'm so sorry. Help my daughters. They were my world. According to the evidence file, there were over 60 of these messages, and I made myself read every single one. They haunt me every week. I had spent 10 years tormenting them, and they would now forever torment me. I live in a hospital now, and I can still hear the scratching. Every time I close my eyes, I hear it. I haven't really slept in a year. My doctor says if I don't sleep soon, I'll die. I spend my days watching news coverage of my father's
It's
trial.
this way.
I spend my nights staring at the walls. And though I try every night, I never fall
The
asleep.
banana is this way.
I always hear the scratching. I always know. This next story comes from Jeffrey in the UK, who used to live in a house with an eerie piece of furniture that had something.
RPG.
In 2011, Jeffrey moved to Cambridge for college. The campus was small, so most students moved into communal housing. Jeffrey and 4 other roommates rented a house that was available until the summer, when the owners would move back in. The owners stored anything they couldn't take with them in the attic. Jeffrey and his housemates were
Where is
warned
the
not to
banana?
open it. They knew this was because the landlord was trying to protect
It's
their
over here.
belongings, but they still
Cannot
joked there might
shoot
be
it.
another tenant in the house, one they didn't want to get out. Jeffrey's room was at the top of the stairs. He left his room sparsely furnished to maximize the space. Apart from a single bed and a wardrobe, the only other piece of furniture was an old 4-covered dresser that the owners had left behind. It had a large, cloudy mirror set in the middle of it. From the first day, Jeffrey didn't like to look in that mirror. It was so warped and cloudy, it reminded him of a funhouse mirror. Something about its murky surface just gave him a chill. After a week or so, he decided he couldn't take it. It was ugly, unsettling, and he hated waking up and looking down into the mirror. He spoke to his housemate Brian about it, and they figured maybe it was just too heavy to move, so the owners didn't move it into the attic. Brian was a fashion design student and loved the idea of adding to his already eclectic furniture collection. So together, they moved the dresser into his room. As they carried it across the landing, they were puzzled at how light it was. A couple of people could easily have put it into the attic with little effort, so there was no real reason not to move it. But now that it was out of his room, Jeffrey felt much more at ease. Fortunately, at the time, he didn't know the impact of his actions. After Jeffrey moved that dresser, locked doors would open by themselves. They would swing open and stop suddenly. Not a movement that would be caused by the wind, but as if someone was standing there, opening it. His housemates also complained of hearing thumps and scratches on the floors and walls, but no one owned up to making them. Jeffrey felt like something was trying to get their attention. Maybe their house was haunted. Suddenly, the house became the haunted house, and friends would come over hoping to hear or see something out of the ordinary. They had a lot of fun with the reputation the house developed. For Jeffrey, that fun stopped after a visit from Brian's mother. She walked in the door and immediately froze. Brian asked what was wrong, but she just stood there and looked up the stairs. She had never been in their house before, but she looked at Jeffrey and said, "That's your room?" "Yeah." Without another word, she walked up the stairs and stood in his room. "There's something in here. It's really upset." She and Brian left quickly, and she refused to come back into the house again. Whenever she visited, she would wait outside. Jeffrey didn't truly believe the place was haunted, nor did he believe in mediums, but it was obvious everyone was shaken by Brian's mother's reaction. After that, they stopped joking about the ghost. When Jeffrey and his housemates threw parties, because of the lack of space, they opened up the whole ground floor by moving all the furniture and clutter upstairs. As Jeffrey's room was the largest, most of the stuff was stored in there, including a large amount of laundry and the living room couch. During one of these parties one night, Jeffrey went to bed. He locked his door and fell asleep pretty much as soon as he lay down. He was awakened in the early hours of the morning by a woman's voice calling into his room. The voice was sweet and friendly, the kind of voice you expect to hear from someone you've known for a long time. He sighed and started getting out of bed. Then he remembered the door was locked. It only locked from the inside, and as his eyes grew accustomed to the dark, he saw the door wasn't even open. He told himself it was the clothes they piled next to the couch, and was just—
The banana's back! No. What?
You have to put it back. He kept his eye on the
Guys, watch out, he's behind you, the banana.
light and turned it on. Nothing.
Yeah, I remember.
There was nothing there. After 3 years, they finally moved out.
What?
Jeffrey was the last one to leave. He was moving in with Justin, another friend
No,
from college.
I just acted like they did. You're my best friend. Why would they annoy me? Why would it annoy me in that slightest way?
It shouldn't have taken him that long, so Jeffrey was concerned when Justin hadn't come back downstairs yet. He went upstairs and found Justin standing in the middle of the landing, staring into Brian's old room, at the dresser. You okay? What's wrong with that dresser? What? I don't know, it's just creepy. No, it's something else. When I was in your room getting those bags, I felt like someone else was up here. I thought you might have come up, so I came out to find you, and the moment I saw that dresser, I knew that was why. It's like someone's hiding inside it. Justin
Did you find the person? I wonder if they found the person. Oh, I think they did.
He laughed when Jeffrey told him about the house being haunted.
Yep, it was the banana. I knew it. I knew it.
When he told
Yes.
him his room,
The banana that we were trying to kill earlier was the last person.
yet
Is the last person that we have to kill. I died because of the banana, and I got 3 kills and started killing
went back
a
downstairs
lot
and
of people.
reached the floor. There was a huge crash of
He shot himself away? Oh, to say he shot himself in the storm. That's stupid.
All the doors were shut, even though they were just open. Not wanting to investigate further, they gathered what was
Oh,
left
come
of
on.
them out of the house.
Let's get this win.
A week later,
This banana got nothing.
a call from the landlord asking
Kill the banana. It's so retarded.
Alta made it come home.
Yes. Good job.
His old room and brought
Stupid of me, I also forgot to do an outro, so like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Enjoy your day, stay speedy, bye.